What's going on, guys? Brian's here. Today's Thursday, September 2nd, 2021. This video is kind of an extension from yesterday's video. If you didn't get a chance to check that one out, I'll leave the link in the description down below, because yesterday, as you know, I pointed out a short on Netflix and Apple, and if something is working, you want to come in the next day and pretty much just keep it on watch, because you're probably going to get the same setup. Netflix pretty much was identical today to Apple yesterday. And yesterday I mentioned something called shorting the backside weakness. So whenever a stock runs up, whenever it exhausts itself on the back end, this is called the backside. So this right here would be called the backside. This right here is called the front side. So you kind of let a stock push up, get tired, and then you try to catch a fade. And this is for intraday trading. It also works on larger time frames, but it was a day trade. I opened it initially thinking I was going to swing it, but I don't really want to swing anything short in this market right now because things are still pretty strong. But what we have here was, this was the previous all-time high. So we have only one level marked off, and let's jump and take a look at what things look like on the intraday time frame. This would be it here. Now, here's our previous all-time high. This right here, I marked off some key time frames that we're going to take a look at, because we'll usually look at the SPY or the Qs whenever I'm doing a trade recap, because there's a lot of context for you guys to learn between the two, especially if you can understand relative strength and relative weakness. So there's something I'm going to point out here, and then this was my entry and this was my exit. So the time frames are on the chart here, and as I mentioned, here goes our front side strength, and this is our backside weakness. The levels on this chart are not drawn in manually. The only thing drawn in on this chart manually would be this right here. I do use an algorithm called from Quant Trading app. I'm the developer for Quant Trading app, so full disclosure there, but these levels are automated from an algorithm. This level is called 2 sigma, so I'm already aware of, I want to be looking for shorts above 2 sigma, and that's why I'm coming in every day with confidence. If you notice, the past couple of videos in which I've released have all been about shorting. I promise you guys, I do go long a lot of the times. It's just right now the opportunity, in my opinion, to go short is a little bit less risky, because stocks are starting to look like they're getting tired. Right here would be my fills. This is the exact order. So traded Netflix, this is the time, so 12:40, and I was out at 2:45, so a nice little intraday swing. I happened to do a complex order or an option strategy called the diagonal. So in other words, I was long the monthly contracts and I was short the contracts that expire next week. So it was a little bit of a safer trade, but I'm going to show you guys how you could have just taken it with some naked puts. Today's Thursday, so tomorrow there are some weekly contracts that are very cheap that you could have just traded. I like to do a lot of complex orders, especially since when I opened this trade, I had walked away from my desk for a couple hours, so I wasn't going to be at the desk. So therefore I happened to open it up as a spread, and it's not necessarily, we won't necessarily look exactly, how this strategy played out, but just know that this was my entry, this was my exit, and understand the time I opened the trade and the time I closed the trade. And if you're curious, this is a screenshot from the broker that I use, which is called Silex. So just like the video from yesterday, we want to start by looking at the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ here. So as I pointed out yesterday, there's relative weakness in the SPY. So this level again, this is letting us know that Quant Trading app said from this previous Sunday, we already were aware of this level here. It's pretty much letting us know to be cautious going long tech stocks unless the NASDAQ can hold this level, it would continue to go higher. But from Sunday, it looks like this was Monday, NASDAQ came, pulled up, and then it's been stuck here. I pointed that out in the video yesterday, so this is why I'm very cautious going long any type of tech stocks right now. I'm more so looking for shorts only if the NASDAQ gets over this level and we show strength, but the market closes for the week tomorrow. So at this point, I'm not going to hold my breath or wait for any major long setups in tech right now. I'll be better off waiting until next week. The market is closed next week Monday, so the next time it's going to be open will be the Tuesday. So right now I'm not very eager or anxious to be swinging any type of stocks long for the time being, especially in the tech sector. And what I pointed out yesterday's video was the relative weakness. So we can see tech was all the way up here, and yesterday the SPY was all the way down here. The SPY should have been up here, and usually whenever we see that, that means the market is kind of healthy. We can expect a little bit of continuation higher. But the fact that there's a difference or a divergence between the two is why I'm just being patient and looking for short trades later in the day. Now, I did take a loss early in the day. It was not on Netflix, it was on Square, because I kind of hopped into some calls at the open. I'm usually not an opening drive trader, but there isn't much to go over in that trade, and I don't think it would provide much value to these guys, to you guys. So that's why I want to isolate the trade in which I did for Netflix, because I think there's a lot to learn here. On the bottom left, we have Netflix on the 5-minute time frame, and we have it on the 15-minute time frame here. So we can see where Netflix came from for the week. And again, here goes our previous all-time high. This is our 2 sigma level. It means that the market is going to want Netflix to close below this level by tomorrow at 4 p.m. or at the level. So we can use this as our mean. And in this particular case, the trade was a reversion to the mean, just like what I pointed out yesterday. I pretty much duplicated what worked yesterday. I mentioned Netflix breaking down below 2 sigma here yesterday and then trading it back down to VWAP, and it was a similar setup on Apple earlier on in the morning. So it came in today looking for the breakdown back to the reversion of the mean. Now I want to point something out here. Quant Trading app lets us know what the average, weekly ranges are and things like that on certain tickers. So that's what this level is right here. So the WA means weekly average. I do know the weekly average for Netflix right now is 31. Heading over to Quant Trading app, this is just a quick one of the quick features that Quant Trading app has. If we take a look, we can see that the average range right now for Netflix is 31.38 points, and it's letting us know what the previous ranges are, as well as certain levels, percentages, and things like that. This is the video. I'm not going to do a full review on Quant Trading app in this video, but just let you guys know I'm using this platform to let me know the averages, as well as it has a Thinkorswim study that I have that's exported and imported into my charts, and it plots all the levels on the chart that you're seeing here. So this 2 sigma level is generated from there. It's the algorithm pretty much letting me know this is a level that I want to be looking for short trades above this level. They have higher odds and higher probabilities catching these fade trades. And at the point when I was looking to take the short, which was right around here, Netflix was about 5 or 6 points above its weekly average. So I was expecting it to kind of pull back to its weekly average. This was just an extra reason to take the trade. Next, I have marked off the time frames right here. So as I mentioned earlier, the reason 11:55 was kind of marked off is because that was the time that the SPY broke back down below VWAP. I mentioned that in yesterday's video. Whenever the indexes both cross below VWAP, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, I want to take a look for what tickers do I want to short. And I'm isolating Netflix in today's video because of it being over 2 sigma. So the fact that it was over 2 sigma, it was well over its weekly average range. The SPY had crossed below VWAP, and at this point the NASDAQ had crossed back below its weekly point from the algorithm, and we were also below VWAP right here, and we were below the 2-day anchored VWAP. So that's what this purple line is here. It's an anchored VWAP from the previous day that the algo also generates for me. So these multiple confluences, we have 1 confluence, we have 2 confluence, we have 3 confluence of 2 sigma, and then we have 4 right here. So not necessarily confluences, but we could say 4 reasons to be looking at the trade, and then this would be our 5th. We were over the previous all-time high, so I knew if we get below this level, it's a good level to risk off of because there isn't much pain. So even though 11:55 I had on watch, let's just zoom in a little closer. At 11:55 I was looking to take the short here, but I actually entered the trade here, and let's take a look at this larger. Here we go. So again, this is where I entered the trade. This is where we started getting a little bit of weakness in the broader markets. Now I mentioned this pattern on Apple yesterday. What we have right here, this technical pattern, is this ascending wedge. Now this can be read as a bullish or bearish pattern. I'm not going to debate the technical analysis of things, but just be aware that there is a wedge that was forming. Usually whenever these wedges break, it presents a good trading opportunity. So right here was a valid entry. It was also on confluence with this time frame, but again, at this point I was still scanning, still looking, still trying to decide if I wanted to take the trade or not, because again, I'm still slightly optimistic about the market. I want to be bullish, but at the same time, I'm trying not to ignore the signs that we are looking a little bit top heavy. We are looking like we're due for a pullback. So I'm not super I'm not super eager to jump into shorts, but unfortunately, it's just what my eye is seeing more opportunity right now. I'm seeing easier trades. Well, not necessarily more opportunity, but I'm seeing less risk taking short trades right now. As ironic as that is, we should not be shorting at the top or shorting at the all-time highs. I'm not fishing for the top. I was not looking to short here or short here. I'm looking to short the backside weakness. In this case, this is when this started triggering to me. We had a new all-time high push right here on Netflix, and then there was no follow-through. Volume necessarily wasn't that strong, so I was just looking at all these things here and then deciding where I wanted to take the trade. Now, because I didn't enter on the immediate break of this wedge, I waited, wanted to see how we would interact at VWAP. I noticed volume came in at VWAP. We popped, but things didn't go anywhere. And this is the previous high, previous all-time high, and I started thinking, as we're consolidating above this level, it just didn't look like there's enough momentum and strength in the market. At this point, we had the SPY below VWAP, the NASDAQ was already below VWAP, and with Netflix being over 2 sigma, I'm telling myself, hey, it's most likely at this point to just revert to the mean, because there's not much enthusiasm and aggressive buyers coming in and really hitting the ask. So it just looked very sluggish, if you will. And from another technical pattern, we had what was forming right here, this little bit of a bear flag. So we had the break of this wedge, and then we had right after this bear flag. So that's two technical patterns on top of a lot of larger reasons using statistics and using an algorithm and things like that that provided me with a little bit of ease. And that's why I normally don't take trades in the middle of the day and then walk away, but in this particular case I did it. I felt it was a safe one, knowing by the time we came down to here and I saw the weakness coming into the stock. This is when I decided to open a trade, knowing that this would be my clear stop. So I was risking from here to here with a profit target of down to here, which would be the reversion to the mean, back to 2 sigma, back to the 2-day anchored VWAP. And that's why you can see I exited the trade right about here. Now let's look at some options. What we have is the 595 at the money put that expires tomorrow. And at the time in which I entered the trade is when Netflix was at VWAP in this area here. So an average fill at that point, you pretty much would have been about $4.61. And as you can see, by the time we hit the profit target, it was going for $8, and we'll say $8.50, and a little bit of a $4 gain, which would have been about an 88% return on your investment. In this particular case, the trade lasted from 12:40 to 2:45, so a little over 2 hours. Not bad for an intraday swing that didn't really have much pain. Risk reward was amazing in this particular case. I do wish I shorted some stock too, because I could have put a nice hard stop in and just felt extra comfortable about it. But I did enter the spread, and as I mentioned earlier in the video, I was not sure if I was going to swing this trade, because at this point Netflix is very likely to still come down to this level, the 573 level, if the market ends up being really weak next week. Quad witching is in 2 weeks, so there's going to be a lot of quarterly contracts expiring. The futures are going to get a little bit funny over the next couple of weeks. So this is actually in sight for the time being, but for now I'm enjoying just day trading the fades later in the day. So that's why I ended up closing the trade. I said, hey, I'm just going to take the profit while it's in front of me and then see if I can catch another entry to tomorrow. So I'm going to look for the same thing tomorrow. As long as it's working, hey, I'm going to look for Netflix, Apple, all these tech stocks that are pretty much elevated right now, or anything over 2 sigma. So the at the money contract, if you're looking at this and you're like, hey, that's pretty pricey for me, I usually don't like to trade contracts that are that expensive, let's just go with the next contract. So from 595 on the chart is right here again. It was pretty much the at the money put. So, oh, by the way, this alert was for if I got stopped out. So that's what this is right here. If price had come back over to this level, close the trade. Here is the 590 put, so the strike price for here, which is a really good one because this is a level from Quant Trading app letting us know that this is where Netflix is likely to end up going for today. So this 590 put is usually the one that I would trade if I was trading the 0 days, but again, I didn't trade these. I traded the monthly and I did it as a spread. Here would be the time in which we were right here. So the entry on this trade would have been about $2.30. So call it $2.25. And by the time we hit the profit target, it would have been 120% return if this was your contract. So from here to here, a little over 100% return. Again, this is an amazing trade. Low risk, if you ask me, because if you're entering here and your stop loss is here, you're pretty much going to be risking maybe 15, even 20 cents on the option. So about $20 per contract that you buy. So buying 5 of these, if you're risking $20 per contract, you're risking $100 to potentially make a little over 1,000. So that's a 5-to-1 trade, and which is an amazing from a risk reward standpoint. So keep this type of stuff in mind, guys. There's a lot of opportunity to short. I know there's not a lot of people that, at least to my knowledge, I'd like to talk about shorting these stocks or what characteristics to look for, because everyone's busy trying to short this, or if we're at the all-time high, let's short this. It's so chaotic. Like, just wait for all this to exhaust itself. Wait for a pattern to form. Use VWAP. You know, like there's so much easier ways to trade. And as you guys see at the beginning, like, it was one trade for me in terms of my entry and then one exit. I was not stressed out about anything, and that's the type of trading that I like to do. I don't like, chances are if I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out, and I'm in, I'm out, and I'm in, and I'm out, and I'm in, and I'm out, I'm going to lose money, which is pretty much what happened to me on Square. That's what I traded at the open. Again, it was a silly trade, but the risk reward was there, so which is why I took it. I was risking pretty much like $500 to make a couple grand, and in this particular case, it didn't work out. So I just kept it moving, just stayed on my hands until another trade opportunity presented itself. If we move right along to my contract, which again is not super important for this video, but I'll just show you guys because I figure you might be curious. Here is my entry here, and here is an exit. So a little bit over 25%, and I did it as a spread. So nothing spectacular here. And because it was a spread, it means I lost on the calls in which I shorted, but I lost maybe 4% or 5% or something like that on the other one, and I made 25% on this one. So it ends up average out being about a 20% return. Again, I like to do spreads. They're much safer. I don't have to worry so much about theta, time decay. I didn't think this trade was going to work out so smoothly also at the time. I was thinking Netflix was going to chop around for a bit and then maybe break down later in the day, or possibly it would have happened on Friday, which would be tomorrow. So that's why I didn't enter in the naked puts, but there's a lot of opportunity. And if you're in the Discord, if you're watching this video and you're in the quant trading app Discord and you see me post something like I'm short Netflix, just understand that I don't necessarily say like what put I'm in half the time, because sometimes I'm usually in a spread. I know not most of you guys do complex orders or option strategies. You guys just want to just buy a put. So just know if I'm short something and I say like my stop loss is over this, you kind of have to find a good strike price for yourself for your account size and what makes you comfortable in terms of your own risk levels. So that's why, as you can see right here, I didn't have the best trade or the best opportunity on this. Could have made a lot more money just going with the 0 day. I would have been in the 590s if I was interested in trading a 0 day, or if I knew I was going to be at my desk to actually observe and manage, and if I needed to add more size and breakdowns and things like that. Now we'll just look at a close-up example of the Qs right here. Again, showing you guys this selling right here. We're forming this little bit of a downtrend. So it's going to be interesting coming into tomorrow. So I'm not expecting much. At most, I would expect the Qs to come up to here if there's strength in tech tomorrow. Something I want to point out for the quant trading app levels, you guys can see whenever these levels break, they usually then act as either support or resistance. We were above it, so it acted as support a couple days ago. When we broke down below it, you see this level acted as resistance here, gapped up over it, chopped around. You guys can see we sold off right here, and then when we came right back to the level, it was the same level. And again, this level is created from Sunday, so it's nice. We kind of sit back, the members of quant trading app, we usually sit back and we kind of just let things come to the levels, let price come to the levels, and then we decide what trades to take. And on top of that, we have this 2-day anchored VWAP. So the confluence of the 2-day anchored VWAP plus the algorithmic level right here, it was already giving good signs to look for shorts, and then the breakdown of the regular intraday VWAP. Very good confluence here. And on top of that, if we draw a Fibonacci on this, we'll see it's been a while since I talked about Fibonacci on this channel, and you guys know this was my bread and butter for last year and a lot of my earlier videos. So I'm now at the point where I don't really draw the fibs on my chart. I'm just aware of usually where's a 50% retracement or 61% retracement, but you guys can see the confluence right here. So pretty much from the high of day to the low of day, this is the retracement that was in perfect confluence with this, that was creating this easy short opportunity here, and we ended up going all the way to the profit target. And this level right here, this little tiny zone, is created from quant trading app, and price came right down to the Fibonacci retracement profit target, as well as the quant trading app profit target. Lastly, we'll just finish on Apple because we talked about Apple in the video yesterday. And Apple is, you guys can see, only one trend line I have on this chart. It's very easy to spot. It's the all-time high uptrend. It's pressing against the upper trend, and we can see it's starting to look a little heavy up here. Now, volume is not the it's not the worst. It could be you know, very tiny volume, which would be not a good sign for, especially if we're going to break. But I just wanted you guys to be aware of this. So that's why I'm also looking for shorts on Apple right now. If we jump to intraday, this was Apple yesterday, so here's that pattern that I pointed out on Netflix today. You guys can see this nice breakout with this ascending wedge, and then we had the breakdown here, and then I talked about the breakdown below 2 sigma was the short for yesterday. So same thing, came in, and keep this on watch for any tickers. It doesn't necessarily even have to be tech stocks. Just keep this type of stuff on watch. Make sure you understand the context of where your stock is, though, from where it came from. The reason these odds and probability is so much higher is because these two tickers are over 2 sigma right now. So it's almost easy to short them. And the supply that was formed up here is going to make it very hard for Apple to push past it on a day where the market was weak. So this supply was forming. I did take a short on Apple today. I shorted it once it broke down below the low of day because at this point I was trading square. So it wasn't necessarily that great of a trade, and I ended up closing it for somewhere around here. Once Apple started coming back up, I was just like, I'm not really going to be bothered. I didn't have enough size to care too much about the trade. It was the 150 put for the monthly because I'm thinking about opening I was thinking about swinging it at this point, but I did re-enter the swing when we came back up to the 2-day anchor VWAP. So I just bought back some puts, keeping it. This position size is very small. It's $400, and just going to hold those for a couple days or tomorrow over the weekend. See kind of what Apple does here with the market, and expecting some sort sort of a little minor pullback or minor flash crash, nothing too significant, but Apple was a nice short from the retracements on the Qs in the same time frame here, grabbing puts below VWAP around a similar time that the SPY was struggling at VWAP. You guys can see it was a nice short trade down to this PT right here. So that's the conclusion of this video. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. And links to the quant trading app Discord is in the description. Link to the quant trading app website is also in the description. It is a premium membership to get access to these levels and these zones and things like that. There's a lot of videos that are private to help people train and understand how to use the levels. It is free to join the Discord, but to be honest, I don't really upkeep the public section. I'm more so catered to the people that are in the gold membership, but I do have plans to post certain freebies and things like that, or sometimes the levels periodically. I will post them in there as well as trade ideas and things like that. So thanks for watching, guys. If you learned anything, like the video, make sure to share it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.